Tell us about Brittany and Helen. What kind of people were they like to you? What do you remember best?
Helen worked in social services for many years. She worked for Passalacqua. She worked for the Wayne County Drug Court. She actually kept a lot of kids out of jail working with them. She just needed her master's degree. They really wanted her in Wayne County Drug Court. She wasn't only a counselor, she was a fixer by trade too.
So she was in a business of helping people.
Yes, yes,
Even in the judicial system.
yes,
How about that?
yeah.
And Brittany?
Brittany followed in her mom's footsteps. Helen always said that we were all alike. Each generation just got a little bit stronger. Brittany always kind of went for the underdog. She had her own style. She didn't really care about what people thought about her. You know, she did things, you know, she dressed the way she wanted to dress. She loved life. She loved dancing. She loved reading. She was just a beautiful child. When I think of Brittany, I see her on the floor with her legs up in the air laughing so hard that she can't even get up. That's my favorite memory of Brittany. She was just a wonderful child. You would have loved her. You would have loved them both. They were just really good people, always trying to help people.
The circumstances of her death, their deaths, brought you to push for this law. What made you realize that something was wrong with the system that would have allowed John Edward Brown to become involved in your family?
Initially, she should have known why he was in prison, not just what he told her. She should have known. She should have been told why he was there.
If she had known, she would not have
No, no way.
not have let him into her life at all.
No, she wouldn't have allowed anyone like that around her children.
So after this horrible murder and the conviction, you decided to push for change?
Yes. Yes, I contacted Senator Nozzolio's office. They got me right in. And we talked about it. And it's been going on since then, almost a year and a half. He's been awesome.
Has it given you a real purpose now?
Yes. Yes, drive.
Why?
Because they can't, it was so senseless, they shouldn't have died. This should not have happened. Number one, if this law that we're trying to get passed, if these tools had been there for Helen, she would have known who he was, and she never would have gotten involved with him, number one. Number two, he never should have been allowed back in her house. I don't know, maybe he would have killed someone else, I don't know. But their deaths have to be for a reason. There has to be a purpose. It can't be as senseless as it was. Something good has to come out of this, and the laws need to change before someone else dies.
Senator, talk about Brittany's law. What is it? What would it do?
The best way to stop violent crime is preventing it from happening in the first place. And what our legislation does, Senator Griffo, myself, others are pushing legislation that will establish a registry of those who have committed violent acts. By having this registry, we believe that Helen would have known, would have had the information accessible to her in an easily accessible way that would have prevented this crime from happening in the first place.
So this would establish a registry of violent felons that people could access?
It's similar to the Megan's Law registry, which we've established a number of years ago for those who are sex predators, sex offenders, that this will be a violent offender registry where violent offenders will be required to register with information, so that in this information age, people can have the information necessary to make those decisions in their lives.
And would they be, like sex offenders, assigned certain levels depending on the severity of their crimes?
Yes, it's identical to that type of criteria establishment. There's certain enumerated felonies, those that are violent felonies, in particular those against crimes against people, are highlighted by this legislation, so that future interaction will have certainly knowledge of the type of person's background and what they have done in the past.
How would you answer to those critics who may say that this only extends their sentence beyond what they would have to serve, that this goes beyond what's intended by law?
My good friend Dale Driscoll has a life sentence as a crime victim. She has had to endure this pain, this anguish of a double homicide, and will be enduring it for the rest of her life. That we think this is a small element, that you give up that individual personal freedom when in fact you commit a very violent act.
It's, you know what it's like in Albany. What do you think the chances of this getting through?
Very encouraging that Senator Griffin and I serve on the Victims' Crime and Corrections Committee. I'm chair of the committee. We're working together to make this the best possible law we can make it. That we believe that we're garnering the votes now, and hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be able to enact it from committee and then fight for it to get it enacted by both houses. It has bipartisan support in both houses. We're hopeful that it will be passed this session.
And you think the governor would be on board too?
That we certainly hope so, that we're taking these steps, and with victims like Dale helping us, and Dale's help has been invaluable, that we hope, again, Brittany's law be established so that we certainly ensure that, that Brittany did not die in vain, and that we have had this type of notice provision so that violent crime can be prevented in the future.
Dale, are you willing to go to Albany to lobby on this?
Oh, absolutely. I would do whatever it takes.
It can get rough there.
And so can I. Helen used to say, "Don't mess with Mama."
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.